Welcome, everybody, to the Gameton Abbey podcast, starring Gameton and...
Abby. No.
So, to clarify, all right, what are we doing?
Wait, is that rhetorical or actual?
Both.
Okay.
So what has happened is...
Good.
Ethan and I... Ethan, when did we start making material together? It was about 2013, right?
Yeah, about there.
4 years ago.
God.
We started making...
And we've made so much mediocre nonsense since then.
Yes, we've somehow managed to just, not give up making things together. We've made, 30 videos of our We're Playing This series.
Which is literally a crapshoot by definition.
Yes. Literally, hours of content there. Like a season's worth of content. So, I'm actually kind of proud of it. But...
yeah, it is. I mean, it's like we made Stonehenge out of poop. It's it's poop,
truly,
but it's still Stonehenge.
But it's still a monument. It's still a monument. So we decided, We're Playing This, has in the past maybe 5 or 10 episodes, we've been doing a lot of talking. There was long stretches of talking in our No Man's Sky play through Tinder.
Yeah.
We talked a lot in the Tinder video.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided, Ethan actually presented this idea to me however long ago, and I thought it sounded horrible. How long
Probably
ago,
for good reason, honestly.
How long ago was that, Ethan?
Oh, man, that was probably, honestly, a year ago.
I don't know if it was the way you presented it to me, but it just did not sound good at the time.
Well, yeah, the way I presented it was it sounded like every week we should do a 45-minute podcast, which is not what I was trying to say, but that's what it sounded like. And you're like, God, no.
I came back to the idea in a certain way to do a Game Snabby podcast, and it seemed really good. And Ethan apparently also thinks this is a good idea.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
We'll go with that. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Gameton Abbey podcast where Ethan and Alex, also who moonlight as Stanley and Edgar, respectively.
Yes.
No. I got it wrong. It's backwards.
Wait, did you say me first, then you, and then your name, and then my name?
I think so.
Okay, no, yeah, you are Stanley,
Yes.
and I am Edgar.
Yes.
Not that matters to anyone or us.
Yeah, we put on this persona, the image of Gameton Abbey as it's in the name. It's a play on Downton Abbey, and I think it was Ethan's idea. And honestly, it's not a very good pun or name, but we've kept with it because I really like the image of being Downton Abbey gentlemen and drinking Wimbledon's juicy drink and eating Grand Wa in the parlor.
Yeah, it truly, when I came up with a name, we were like, no, that's stupid. And we're like, wait, it's awful. I love it.
And it's kept for 4 years.
It has.
God,
4 years. I'm so sorry.
And we're just further solidifying it by saying its name. So it's going to be here to stay, guys. So without further ado, we would like to jump into the first episode of the Gameton Abbey podcast. And you might be wondering... Ethan and Alex, what could possibly be in the Gameton Abbey podcast? To which I would say, why are you talking so weird? I don't even want to answer your question, but you're a fan. I mean, you're our only fan. So,
Ethan, you're one of our two fans, one of which is my mom. Oh no, she doesn't even. I don't think my own mom likes our Facebook.
Our parents better not know about what we do on the internet. I'll just say that much.
That's true.
Ethan, describe in 5 words what this podcast is.
Okay, well, let's see. That was all 5.
Actually, that's perfect. Perfect. Okay, so with that in mind, let's jump right in. Okay, so we're actually gonna we have segment ideas. Mm-hmm. Some segments rely on or incidental, coincidental. It's if we find something interesting to talk about, like an interesting topic, or like a song that we think is funny, or just any kind of like incidental thing like that it's really hard to kind of search out.
Yeah, basically, to give an actual answer to that, not in 5 words, because that's gay. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say gay as a negative. But literally, all this is us just like, over the course of WPT, that's we're playing this for, the hardcore fans. We will just have like little things that happen either on camera or off, mostly off actually, about like, stuff like we'll talk about like, I don't know, something like an Onion article or something, and then we'll end up talking about something related to that and end up on these rabbit trails that are actually quite funny.
But they have no home.
You're right. So they have no home. So really, this podcast isn't so much, okay, every week we're going to talk about movies sort of idea. It's literally just like that sort of idea of like when we go on rabbit trails that end up hilarious, and we want to try and bring that to a home,
Exactly.
We would love if you'd adopt us, is what we're saying.
Yeah, we're big boys, but in our hearts, we're little boys. So, so there's going to be like segments are going to rotate. Each episode is going to have a different format, but think of it like a Whose Line Is It Anyway episode, where you know what the show is, but you don't know what you're going to get in a particular episode.
Wow, that was really good comparison right there.
I was surprised. Yeah, it's like, ooh, props in this one.
Yeah.
So we have like a handful of things. The list will probably grow as we come up with ideas. But basically, the entire premise, if you could get this from Ethan's 5-word description, is we want the fluffiest podcast possible. We want you to come away from this podcast having had a good time, but not becoming a better person.
Yeah, and not having to have to delve into anything real or of substance.
Yes. And that's not not to just be like, ooh, I want this to be a great place where you can just relax and have a good time. I just want this to be truly a podcast without depth in any way. So, and with that in mind, we actually made a rule where we can't talk about anything like heavy. Yeah. We're not going to talk about,
we're not going to talk about like political issues and crap.
Hurricane Harvey and what Donald Trump is doing about it. Yeah. Instead, we'll talk about like Hitler and like Nietzsche and Jean-Paul Sartre, and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, okay, so Ethan, would you like to move on to our first segment?
Oh, gladly.
Good. So, this is going to be the Wikipedia section. What this section is
what idiot! I was just after taking a drink.
Oh, dang it! I thought you were excited for our podcast.
No.
So there is a link for Wikipedia. It's en.wikipedia.org, which is English because we are English people, /wiki/special:_random. And this will give you a random Wikipedia article. So what Ethan and I are going to do is I'm going to click this and I'm going to send him the link and he's going to open it. And then we're going to talk as much as we can about the link that we just got.
Right.
All right. So I'm clicking it now. Oh, geez. Okay.
Oh, no. Okay.
All right.
I don't know if that's a good or bad omen or both.
Okay, hit that. I'm going to put this in the description for every video and podcast we do of this too. So literally, all right, we have Chalaika, which is literally just like /wiki/CHALAIKA. And it's literally just a town in Bhutan.
Yeah, here's
that's literally all it says.
It's
this whole sentence. Read it, Ethan.
I would like to read to you the entirety of this wiki page.
Okay.
Chalaika is the town in Daigana district in southwestern Bhutan.
That is it.
That is it.
Apparently, Chalaika resides in. Well, that's weird. I click on the picture and then the location is gone.
Whoa.
That's weird. It's apparently in the southwest region. The time zone is BTT, the UTC +6, if you will.
Where is Bhutan? What is... Oh, good. When I click on Bhutan, it gives me a world globe with a little location. Thank you very much.
Mm. Bhutan is in South Asia. Landlocked.
Right. Yes. It looks like it's just above Africa.
So, truly nothing of significance has happened in this location.
Yeah. I mean, literally, literally, there's nothing historically interesting enough for anyone to put on the wiki page.
Amazing. So
Wikipedia is literally telling me this Bhutan location article is a stub.
It's a stub. You can help Wikipedia by expanding it. It's like, I don't think we can. We don't know much about Shaleka.
We could literally edit it to give it information that's untrue, and no one would ever know.
That is true, but I don't have an account on Wikipedia, so
I don't either.
We're moving on.
All right.
So this is going to be this next segment. I don't know if we'll do this every time. It depends. Because I don't want everything we do to just be like reading something, which is going to be what a lot of this podcast is.
Yeah.
This episode. Just because I want to kind of introduce a lot of these segments early on, but this is a segment where one of us picks and reads a short fan fiction. That's
such a good idea.
It's a really good idea. Thankfully, fanfiction.net allows you to filter word length and the rating. So, if we don't want to go rated M and we don't want it to be a 144,000 word long Frozen fanfic, which I just saw an hour ago. Man, and I'm struggling to write a 50K word novel. Jeez, why are you wasting your time on Frozen fanfic? Anyway. That's someone who's so passionate about Frozen.
Honestly, if someone could write a fan fiction of 140K words that was actually good and of substance, I would actually be incredibly impressed and give them props.
Totally.
Because that would be impressive.
So, I'm going to take it upon myself to pick and read a fanfic this evening, okay?
Yes. Which I actually thought you were going to choose part of that Frozen fanfic, so I'm completely unbeknownst as to the whereabouts of what this fanfic is. That was completely wrong wordage, but you know what?
Right. Much like our last segment that we're going to do tonight, the person who does the choosing and reading leaves it a surprise for both the audience and the other podcast host. So,
quite so.
Ethan, I have chosen a fanfic from The Hobbit.
Oh, okay.
Okay? It's called...
Actually, this could be very interesting because, to me, The Hobbit was such a great setting, but the writing was very, clinical and not as fun. Sure. A fan fiction of The Hobbit actually could be quite interesting. Sure.
I have not read this fanfic, which is obviously part of the thing, because I'm not going to read a 700-word fanfic to preview it. I'm going to do that in the podcast. This is called Feisty Little Hobbit. All right. The description says, "You're Bilbo's little sister, but the exact opposite of him. You are sarcastic and loved adventures. So what happens when 13 dwarves show up to your door?" That's one sentence. "You join them, of course. Story is transferred from my Tumblr of the same name." That's the stamp of quality I look for any fanfic.
That is good stuff right there.
Okay.
That is the sauce on the meatballs.
This is the balls. Are you ready for the balls, Ethan?
Give them to me.
Okay. "I'm going to murder these dwarves," you say, ducking to avoid getting hit from a bull. "These dwarves just popped out of nowhere, and you were not happy about it. While Biblo was more subdued, you were not."
That is a good sign.
"While Biblo was more subdued, you were not. You always spoke your mind, and if it meant yelling, so be it. You and Bilbo were basically opposites. Your house is going to be in ruins if they keep this up." The prose is beautiful. I love the poetry.
Oh my god.
The noise pauses as there is a knock on the door. He is here, you hear the wizard mutter. There's a wizard, apparently. Seeing that you're closest to the door, you go to open it.
Seeing that you're closest to the door, you open it.
Yeah, you go.
Is it just me, or is that a bad line?
You go to open it.
Well, no, yeah, but seeing that you're closest to it.
Seeing as how you're closest to it.
Oh.
Well,
Okay,
no, that's not what it says. That's what it should say.
No, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it says seeing that you're closest to it, which is incorrect.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay, cool.
The sight that grates you,
Oh my god.
is that of a very regal-looking dwarf. He must be very important. He nods at you as you let him in. You do not want to say anything in fear you might offend these dwarrow
What?
and stab one of them.
Wait, what?
Did a 4-year-old write this? This is amazing.
Wait, I don't want to offend these dwarves, otherwise I might stab them.
No, you did not want to say anything in fear you might offend these dwarrow and stab one of them. Gandalf, I thought you said this place would be easy to find. I lost my way twice, he says, nodding at who I remember to be Dwalin, Dori, and Ori. You watch carefully as Ori and Dori come close to bowing. He must be very important.
Oh, was that in all caps?
Yes. If I emphasize it, it's in all caps. I wouldn't have found it at all if it had not been for the mark on the door, the dwarf states as you close the door again. There is no mark on that door. I was painted a week ago, Bilbo exclaims as the dwarf hands over his coat to Keeley, finally joining the unexpected party. There is a mark.
Nice.
I put it there myself, Bilbo Baggins. Bilbo Baggins is a sentence of its own. I would like to introduce you to the leader of our company, Thorin Oakenshield. Gandalf introduces, and you make sure to remember his name. Thorin smirks, looking at your brother, and for some reason it infuriates you more than it should have. So
why? What did he do?
So this is the Hobbit. Tell me, Master Baggins, have you done much fighting? Thorin asks, circling Bilbo, and you clench your fists. You may be 10 years younger than Bilbo, but you are still very overprotective. Pardon me, Bilbo asks, still confused, which makes sense. He wasn't much of a fighter. You were. He didn't know that, of course, but that's a story for another time. Of course, a hobbit is just a fighter, man. Axe or sword? What is your weapon of choice? Thorin asks again, still eyeing him over.
I like how that's his only two options for weapon.
I do have some skills in conkers, if you must know, but I fail to see how that is relevant, Bilbo replies, straightening himself out to not look frightened. Thorin smirks again. I thought as much. You look more like a grocer than a burglar, he states, making everyone laugh. That is it. You swiftly grab Thorin's sword from his belt, twirling it a bit before pointing it at the dwarf's neck. Everyone looks at you in shock. They did not understand how you could take Thorin's weapon from him so easily.
Okay, this is... I understand what the story is.
Yes, I do.
This is someone who wishes they were in The Hobbit, and they look at all the scenes where Bilbo doesn't do anything cool, and are like, man, I'd be so cool. I'd get Thorin's sword. I'd swing it all around. Everyone would look at me like I'm really awesome.
Also, this is a girl, definitely.
Yeah.
Or transgender. Okay, sorry.
You can continue.
You do not, Mr. Oakenshield, get to come into our home and insult my brother. He was gracious enough to feed the mouths of those that we do not know. I think he deserves some respect.
Wow, that was a very eloquent line for this.
I know. I'm noticing like words that are like pretty, hefty, but then all of a sudden Dwarrow and Biblo show up, and I'm like, well, I don't know.
Biblo Baggins free.
I think he deserves some respect, you growl out. Thorin is glaring a hole through your head. The doorbell rings again, and you finally lose your shit. Okay. I didn't... Alright. I didn't expect this to suddenly have a bunch of expletives, but there's some coming up.
So, first of all... Yeah. I'm pretty sure there was no doorbell in the first place. I'm pretty sure it was a knock on the
You
door.
knock on the door. There's no doorbell in the Hobbiton.
There's no such thing as a doorbell.
In Middle Earth.
And second of all, I just imagine an actual Hobbit movie with what's his name who played a Hobbit?
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman. I just imagine Martin Freeman having a younger Hobbit sister. And she's like, I'm about to lose my shit.
I can't believe it. Okay, so there's going to be some expletives coming up, and I apologize. So if you don't want expletives, just jump to the description that I leave in the description of the video or podcast or whatever, because it's about to get a little heated. All right, the doorbell rings again, and you finally lose your shit. If this is another one of you fucking dwarves, I'm going to fucking castrate every single one of you. You shout, moving to open the door again. Instead of a dwarf, it's your worst nightmare. Your frown deepens more as you are met with the pig face of Lobelia Sackville Baggins. What do you want, Lobelia? You ask coldly. I just wanted to tell you that you and your brother are making too much noise. It's not proper of a Baggins. Listen here, you utter twat. You are not a Baggins. You are a brace griddle. And for your information, we are tooks. Now, I am tired of seeing your ugly mug, so would you please do me the kind favor of kindly fucking off, you shout, slamming the door in her face. You turn towards the company and hand Thorin back his sword. I'm going to turn in before I just murder all of you, you say, pushing past the company and walk into your room. But not before hearing Keely and Feely say, we need her on this quest.
Oh, of course.
The end.
Oh my god.
Can you believe that? I was not expecting that at all.
Wow. Wow.
The line, the doorbell rings again and you finally lose your shit. That's straight out of Tolkien.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I'm pretty sure I read that exact line at the end of The Hobbit during the Five Armies.
Oh, man. But you're totally right. Like, this is completely a psychological insight to this person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Easy.
Through and through. I mean, it's literally like, you can approximate what age they are. You can approximate the type of personality they have.
It's a 15-year-old girl.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, is, like, the fact that they're doing that with The Hobbit also tells you something, because usually that would be something like, I don't know, something more mainstream, like Star Wars. Like, it would be like Star Wars, and it'd be like, you know, oh, the Padawans were sucking, but then I walked into the room and everyone was like, whoa, they're so cool, sort of idea. Yep. And the fact that they did that with The Hobbit is also interesting, because it's like
very specific and niche.
Yeah, they took the time to write a fanfic about them being a younger sister to the Hobbit. Like, what?
And showing how awesome they were to all the dwarves.
Yeah, I feel like this would be a very interesting person.
And Lobelia.
Lobelia. And didn't it literally say Lobelia Baggins? And then she's like, you're not a Baggins.
You're a brace griddle.
Yeah. It's like, you just called her Lobelia Baggins.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. Well, I feel like in like 10 years, the person who wrote this is going to be a very, very interesting person.
Geez. Well, I just closed it, but let me open it again. I want to see when this was written.
Oh, yeah, please do.
It said published September 3rd, so it might actually have been 3 days ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because I think if I go to Hobbit, let me just double check. Yeah, it's ordered by publishing date. So, and that was like halfway down the list. So,
wow,
I guess
that was unexpected. That was
That's good.
That's like when you're watching Red Letter Media, and they do a Wheel of the Worst, and you're expecting just another crapshoot, and then they get something truly gold.
Well, just gold, like gold in the rough. Diamonds in the rough is what it is.
Yeah, diamonds in the rough.
So now comes what might be like my favorite segment of any podcast ever.
Okay, I need to bring this up.
Yeah, so we were writing down like podcast segment ideas, and Ethan jokingly in our Google Doc wrote down IKEA.
Yeah, we literally just had a list of things going, and I wrote IKEA and then left it.
And that gave me a huge epiphany, a massive idea, a massive, huge, throbbing idea in my head, a massive thing in my head. And I realized that it would be hilarious for us to take like a glass of wine or a glass of tea or coffee or whatever beverage really, and sit down each episode and read 2 to 3 paragraphs from the privacy policy of various companies.
Yeah. So we're starting off with IKEA because I wrote down IKEA.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and start off with just reading the privacy policy of IKEA.
And like I told Ethan, like I feel like this will make us a little like paranoid of certain companies. And like I said that this wasn't supposed to be a podcast where we come away learning anything. Yeah. But because of the Wikipedia segment, because of this segment, we're going to be like familiar with a bunch of really random things. Yeah. Like, we're going to understand how IKEA works after a few episodes.
Well, just in general, like, have you ever read a privacy policy from a company that says, do you accept the terms and conditions?
Right.
So
no one.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know if that was rhetorical or not. So good job.
Well, the answer is no.
Yeah. And so really in general, I'm just going to learn about freaking privacy policies because I don't know how they read.
Exactly. We're gonna see how this works. So Ethan, I'm thinking that we'll go. I'll read the top paragraph.
Okay, and then I can read like maybe the next 2.
And then you'll read the next 2, and then we'll end with the email. We'll leave the email one for next time.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay. Gotcha. So we have to be drinking a beverage. It has to be a beverage occasion. So I am currently drinking elderberry wine from Colorado Cellars, a local winery, and elderberry wine has become like crack to me. I've been drinking it not in like a alcoholic, get intoxicated kind of way, but I just truly love elderberry, and this is one of the only ways I can get elderberry.
To the extent of drinking wine slowly and having fun with it, not getting drunk. Like, to that extent, you've been going nuts with it.
Exactly. But I
Yeah.
love elderberry wine. Anyway, that's what I'm drinking right now. Ethan, what are you drinking?
So, first of all, I'd like to comment that elderberry wine sounds amazing, and the only wine I've ever had that like blew my mind was a plum wine, which I don't particularly like plums or plum flavored things. However, that wine was incredibly good. It was a sweet red plum wine. Nice. Anyways, what I am drinking currently is I'm on a very strict diet, so I can't have proper pop. This led to the discovery.
Ethan, it comes from a place where they say pop and not soda.
Oh, yes, yeah.
We need to
So I got my
disclose that
Thody pop here.
before my soft drink, my carbonated beverage.
I have my carbonated soft drink Sody pop here. And
My sugar
yeah,
water.
we call it what?
My sugar water.
Yeah. We call it pop here because we're normal. So so yeah, I'm on a strict diet, so this led to looking for other drinks to have besides, carbonated pop and such like that.
Right.
Well, this led to the discovery of a drink called Bai, which is BAI.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and it's quite tasty. I like
it has
especially.
It has like sucralose or erythritol, but very
erythritol, yes.
Erythritol, but very, very light amounts.
Right. So it's got 1 carb of actual sugars, and then the rest of the carbs are made up of erythritol, which is a pretty. I mean, you can have a lot more of that sweetener than you can have of even Splenda, and you can have a lot more Splenda than you can have sugar. So you can have quite a bit of that, and it's not that bad. So those drinks are good. Then they came out. I don't know if they came out with them recently or they just got here recently, but carbonated drinks of Bai.
Yes, I've seen those. I've had them.
Some are pop, which are actually pretty good. They're not like actual pop, but they have good flavor.
Are those the black cans?
I actually think they're all going to all black.
Oh.
I'm not sure because this one's black and it's not a pop one, so I don't really know for sure. But so the one I have is 9 grams of carbohydrates, but it is a little over 1 gram of sugar, and the rest is erythritol, and it is sparkling Pagoda blackberry lime.
Nice.
So it is quite tasty. It's got light flavor, and the carbonation's good and all that. So it's really good.
It did not sound like a slurp. I'll tell you that much. It sounded like something else. Okay, so
it was much more violent than I was really trying to go for there.
We have our beverages. Let's take it from the top, shall we?
I'd like to mention I also. God. I'd like to mention I also have half a bottle of Propel and a very, very tall bottle of water. So I'm like alternating between 3 different things to drink right now. So, anyways.
That's fine. That's fine. IKEA privacy policy. Yes. We at IKEA North American Services LLC, IKEA, respect your concerns about privacy and value the trust you have placed in us. This privacy notice describes the type of personal information we collect and how we may use that information and with whom we may share it. Our privacy notice also describes the measures we take to protect the security of the information. In addition, we describe the choices you can make about how we use the information you provide to us. We will tell you how you can reach us to update your contact information, remove your name from our mailing list, or answer any questions you may have about our privacy practices.
Good stuff.
Yes. So, Ethan, what are these? This first section that you're covering?
Yeah. So, you may ask, what types of information does IKEA collect and use about me, and how does IKEA use the information? It says we collect and use information about you to communicate with you about our products, services, and promotions. We also collect information to improve the shopping experience of IKEA customers. Here are the ways we obtain Yes. Here are the ways we obtain information about you and the types of information we obtain. That's one of those sentences where I feel like I read the same thing twice.
Yeah.
We also tell you how we use that information. So, catalog. When you request a catalog from us, you provide us with contact information, such as your name, address, phone number, and email address, so we may sell them to the proper authorities. No, so we may fulfill your request. To update your email communication preferences or to unsubscribe, please click here.
Ethan, why don't you go ahead and do the email one too? This one quick.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do email. So email. When you subscribe to our email list, you provide us information such as your email address, name, and zip code, so we may communicate you via email. We will send you email only if you have provided us with your email address and have asked us to communicate with you in this way. If you signed up...
We will send you email only if you have provided us with your email address.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's pretty, We will send you email if you haven't. It just won't get to you. If you've signed up to receive email from us, you'll continue to find IKEA in your inbox. Hey, there's one. It's quick and easy to review or manage your email preferences. I'd like to note that manage your email preferences is a hyperlink.
It is.
Please log in to let us know how we can communicate with you.
So, I noticed before in the first paragraph you read, we also collect information to improve the shopping experience of IKEA consumers.
Yeah.
You realize how vague that is?
Yeah.
They could be collecting information to prevent bombs from going off.
Yeah. Because that would improve their shopping experience.
Yeah. I mean, they could be like the NSA and just like monitoring everything because...
Are you saying that IKEA is a front for the CIA?
That sounds like a quote from something. Hey, speaking of quotes, speaking of segues, our final segment is also one that I'm quite fond of. I like this. We're gonna end every episode. This is gonna be a mainstay. All right. This isn't moving. You'll always get this at the end of every episode.
Yeah. So look forward to it.
Look forward. Look forward to it.
I look really forward to it.
Look forward. So
that's from Alex, our quote of the day.
Yep.
Always look forward.
We're gonna go and just read some.
We're gonna go. Bye.
We're gonna end every episode by reading each of us reading a single
quote.
I
don't want to give a label to what kind of quote because that may change.
Yeah, we're starting with like philosophers and stuff like that, just because that's the easy thing. But on this website that I'm on right now that has my quote, there's like quotes from Lil' Kim and Steve Jobs, Jim Carrey. So I mean, it can be like pretty much anything, any kind of like reputable quote. But we're gonna do like a philosophical or inspirational quote. But
that being said, I would like to mention a quote I saw right before we started this.
Yes.
That said, "Of course I'm not perfect. There's a crack in my ass."
And that what is that, Ethan? What is that?
What do you mean?
I don't know. But by you saying that quote, you brought a halt to this podcast, and I'm just going to let it sit.
What?
Anyway, moving on.
Dear God.
The mainstay of these quotes has to be that they're like kind of obtuse and not applicable in any way.
Oh yeah, no, they're not going to actually be useful to you right now.
Yeah, so it's not like, an inspirational C.S. Lewis quote or like something Lincoln said or Martin Luther King Jr. It's like
it's not something like
a dream is a wish your heart makes. What did Martin Luther King Jr. say?
I don't know. It's not going to be something like,
I dreamed the dream.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I don't know. Oh crap! Now I can't remember either.
If you missed the kick, you won't get out of the dream. I don't know. Martin Luther King Jr. said something about dreams.
Wait, was that Matrix?
That was Inception.
No, that was Inception, right? I was like, wait a minute.
So I decided, we need to end with a quote, but have it just be something obtuse that you can't really use in your life.
Yeah, well, no, we don't want to be useful.
Something that just kind of makes your head scratch. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Ethan, would you like to start with your quote first to end this podcast?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course. Please. First, let me take a sip of my drink here.
Good.
Okay.
Nice. Before you read your quote, you have to say, or should you say your quote and then who said it? I think that'd be better, right?
I feel like that's up for us to decide pertaining to the quote we have before us at the time.
Okay, so it's up to you if you want to say who it is.
Yeah. I feel like in general these quotes will be we can say the person first or after. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So Plato has given us this. The beginning is the most important part of the work. And there you go.
Oh my gosh, Plato, are you kidding me? I'm about to the doorbell rang again and I'm about to lose my shit.
Yeah, I mean literally when you say a good start is work half done or whatever, that makes sense. Saying the beginning is the most important part is not helpful.
No. It's thanks, Plato. Did you think about the beginning of that quote when you first started to say it, or did it all come at once? If it all came at once, you're lying.
Dang.
That's.
I'd like to also mention that the word beginning in that is highlighted.
Nice.
They don't want you to confuse beginning with middle or end.
That's a really good quote, Ethan. I like that a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
it's my quote. I lied. It's not Plato. It's me.
Here's what I have.
That's not true.
This comes from the mouth of Nietzsche. Okay.
The mouth of Nietzsche.
The German philosopher of the 19th century, Friedrich Nietzsche. He said, "When one has a great deal to put into a day that has 100 pockets." Wait, sorry, I said that wrong. When
I was like, no, wait a minute.
Sorry, there's supposed to be a comma in here. When one has a great deal to put into it, a day has 100 pockets.
Oh. That means nothing to me. Like, I can't even make that make sense.
When one has a great deal to put into it, a day has 100 pockets.
So when you put a lot of work into a day, it has a lot of pockets.
I think he's just trying to say that you can get more done in a day than you think. But
maybe.
I like under the topics.
Well, okay,
Day, deal, great deal, 100 pockets put. Those are the topics for this. What are you saying?
He's German, correct?
Yeah.
I wonder if in German he said that, then that's been translated to English, and it makes a lot less sense.
Possibly. I don't know. He may have spoken English.
Yeah, I don't know.
Either way, I thought that was a great quote.
That's really great. Yeah. I like it.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude our first episode of the Game to Navy podcast.
Yeah. Starring Stanley Barrington, and Edgar Davenport.
You did it again. Change it. Hurry.
Nah.
Okay. So this has been it. I honestly can't even guarantee that we'll do another one, but I really want to at some point.
No, man, we are. I like it.
Good. We'll come up with more segments, and I hope that you had a completely shallow experience.
Yeah.
But you feel.
We hope that you gained nothing from this experience,
except for a little bit of laughter and happiness.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully that. But
we don't.
Besides that, we don't actually want you to have gained any insight into anything.
Yes. And on that,
except for maybe the mind of that 15-year-old girl, because that was interesting.
That was fascinating.
That was great.
I love
Anyways.
that. Anyway.
That was good.
So join us. We're not going to do any kind of schedule.
Nah.
Basically, when we're available, and if we feel up to putting in 20 to 40 minutes, we'll just like plunk a podcast in your laps.
We will drop a hot deuce of podcast all over you. Sorry.
I'm probably going to just stick this on the YouTube. I don't think I'm going to put this on iTunes.
Okay.
Because podcasts don't really get found out unless you're told about them outside of iTunes.
Yeah.
And
I feel like people don't go discovering new podcasts on iTunes.
I might link like a download for the MP3 or something, but that's the most I'd do.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Look for the Game to Navy podcast on iTunes, and if it's not there, I've chosen not to do it.
Yeah, simple as that.
Because they can be a pain in the butt sometimes. Anyway,
it really can.
Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Many thanks. Goodbye.
Good night.
Farewell.